You're listening to Truly Unruly with Marcus and Jessica Trufant. What's up? It's Truly Unruly with Marcus and Jessica Trufant. What's up, guys? How y'all doing?
Doing well, my brother.
Good.
Well.
How are you?
Good. Well, I wanted to talk to you guys today, actually, about the kids. Because I saw something. So I saw something on the internet about parents talking about like boundaries and privacy boundaries with your kids, and especially with Carmen, her, being a senior, she's about to be 18. She's not 18 yet, is she?
No.
No. Okay. So she's going to, be turning 18, but a lot of parents, it don't matter if you're 18, if you're still living underneath my roof, there's my rules, that whole kind of thing. Right. So do you guys have like privacy boundaries with your kids?
Privacy boundaries, like as in like I don't bust into their room, or
like stuff like that, or like, do you guys check phones and go through phones, or like do you trust them enough to know like, oh, I know they're not going to be searching for stupid things or having inappropriate conversations, things like that? Like where is the line with you guys that you guys have with the kids is pretty much what I'm asking, if that makes sense.
It makes sense. I don't know. This is pretty controversial because, controversial. Yeah.
Controversial.
Get it out, Jess. Anyways, because you get all types of feedback on, parents are like, we don't let our kids have Instagram till they're 15 and all of this kind of stuff. And honestly, we don't really set any parameters with our kids because we don't, and everybody do your own thing, because we don't need to. I don't know. All of the dirty things and terrible things and all these things that kids look up, we've discussed it with our kids. So if they want to go look up a dick pic, they know what a dick does. So it's kind of like, what?
True.
Oh, they know about sex. They know about this shit. So there's not really anything. I mean, I'm sure there are things that if we were, in a certain scenario that we would be like, oh my God, this is an absolute no, all that kind of stuff. But we're pretty open because whether you give a child phone access at 8 or at 18, they're going to do what they're going to do. And these kids are so crafty and sneaky. I can guarantee half these parents that think they have a lock and key on their kid do not. And I have found that when you restrict kids, it makes them want to do it even more. And they sneak behind your back, and then they'll never be straightforward with you because you've put so many parameters on them that I don't know. So that is my opinion. We don't really do that. We don't need to.
Right. We give our kids opportunity, right? Sometimes exposure can be good, right? And you taste a little bit of beer and you find out that you don't like the taste or whatever, right? So our kids are good kids. We're lucky and we're blessed in that way. But just being upfront with the kids, not sheltering them so much that they do want or have a desire really to get into the filth. Okay, we see this on TikTok, or we pretty much have free reign to do what we want to do. So it's not really that big of a deal to us, I think, is the energy that maybe our kids are given, right?
Right. And we're on social media. I mean, our kids, which
we on here talking crazy right now.
Right. It makes me die a little bit, but they have access to watch us, on Truly Unruly. So they know the deal. And if they have any questions, they can bring those forth and we can have a conversation about it. But again, I feel like until they give us a reason to not trust them, then I trust my kids and I have faith that they will, I wouldn't even say it's doing the wrong thing, because people are going to do what they do. And kids that are looking up bad stuff are doing whatever. Adults are doing the same thing. So true. It's kind of like, I don't know. As long as their actions show differently.
Right.
Whatever.
And I believe it's about giving those words of wisdom just in general, right? Outside of social media, outside of their phones, outside of everything, just to give them the foundation so they know what's foolishness and what's not, right? What's fake and what's real. You see all that stuff on social media, 99% of that stuff is fake, or it's rehearsed, or it's scripted, whatever. So that's a big part of the conversation, right, too.
And also, you have to instill that confidence that, like I was saying on my birthday, the 100th episode podcast, the love for themselves, right? I think that goes really far. When you love yourself, when you are grounded, when you realize that social media, which it's really hard to do, because even I struggle scrolling through and I'm like, I don't have that. I don't look like that. But I grew up different than my kids, right? And so we have done our damnedest to make them feel beautiful, special, to love their hair, to love their skin color, to love their features. Well, I wouldn't say that they're appreciative for everything.
They don't know it yet, but they
don't know. But to be kind and to help others, those are the things that matter. Like scrolling through social media and, like I said, seeing an occasional.
Damn it!
Scratch that, because you're not
dick pics. Jesus Christ!
Seeing an occasional vag pop up. I mean, it's like, okay,
it's natural.
Okay,
that's life.
That's what they choose to do. You don't have to do that, right? It's all about a conversation, like you said, and instilling the confidence, the self-love, all of that kind of stuff. So when they scroll through social media, they don't start picking at themselves, right? And this turned into a different conversation, because we're talking about boundaries, privacy boundaries, but
same thing, no.
But it kind of encompasses
and the
everything.
Conversations, right?
Yes.
So we're giving our kids space, but we do want to instill the values and the foundation anyway, right?
Right.
So that makes us be able to trust our kids more, and there's an open dialogue. Even though kids are going to be kids, you're not going to see everything, you're not going to know everything, but there's a nice little baseline,
right? There. Kids are going to be kids, and yeah.
Do your kids, when they, I guess, want to know something or don't understand something, or maybe even are a little embarrassed about something, are they comfortable with coming and like asking you guys? Like, are they very transparent in that sense when it comes to like, what, like, I saw this, I don't know what this is, I want to know what this is, or maybe I'm too embarrassed to ask what this is, but maybe it's easier to ask mom than it is to ask dad, or vice versa. You guys ever run into that at all?
No.
That's good. I mean, hey, that makes it a lot easier, right?
Not really. Yeah. What do you think?
I think it's both ways, right? I think there's some parents that may be too rigid, or I can't talk to my kids this way because I really don't even want to bring up sex. I don't want to bring up drugs. I don't want to bring up boys or girls and all that kind of stuff. But we are open to having those conversations, right? So I think it kind of trickles down to the kids. I think sometimes they maybe wait on us, or if we see something, then we kind of bring it to them, right?
Right.
And so that's kind of our dynamic.
It's more of us bringing it to them.
And then it makes them comfortable, and they're able to be like, okay, now I can give my 2 cents. But as far as the kids just coming out and saying things, not so much all the time. Sometimes we got to pull stuff out of them.
Right.
But that's cool.
They're
though.
funny. Is they'll be like, ugh,
Yeah.
or that's gross, or whatever.
Right.
But
we don't care because we bring it up anyway.
yeah, we don't care. I was just what was I just telling Carmen about? Something about not wearing condoms and getting people pregnant. I cannot remember what we were talking about. And it's just kind of like a
matter of fact, just
right. It's just kind of like, and granted, we don't talk about this shit all the time. We're not walking around like, ooh, blah, 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 blah. But I feel like just based off of really talking to them about sex and really talking to them about boys, we haven't had the conversation with our son about, girls yet. He's still a little young, but about boys and expectations and what you shouldn't not allow boys to do and what you can allow boys to do if you feel comfortable, right? Mm-hmm. Your boyfriend or whatever. Anyways, but like he said, it's pretty casual when we talk about it.
And that's how it should be, in my opinion. You don't want to, it's already uncomfortable enough, maybe for parents as well as for kids. So just to kind of make it a normal conversation, not put too much pressure on it. Okay, let's all sit down at the table and get our sheets of paper and take notes and all this kind of stuff. Let's have just a casual conversation because you're going to be talking about it anyway at school with your friends, on your text threads, all this kind of stuff. So let's give you a little bit of backstory before you get
exactly
out there with these young folks that may be trying to steer you in the wrong direction. Let's give you some game. Let's arm you with some game first.
Okay, funny story. Kimura, she is going into high school and she tried out for the volleyball team 2 weeks ago and made it on the team. And I'm like, how was practice? Are you talking to the girls? And she's like, yeah. She was like, but they cuss a lot. She was like, they cuss. And she was like, I'm not about that. And I was like, well, just tell them, you don't curse, you don't swear. And then I told her, you know what you tell them? My mom swears so much that I don't feel the need to swear. I just don't. I don't have a desire because my mother has a fucking mouth like a sailor. Okay. So, just stuff like that. And we kind of talked to them about swear. We were just talking to them about swear.
Right. I tried to get them to cuss in front of me and they wouldn't do it. Just to see if they would.
But I think one of them does. I think she does. And
that's the natural progression. I remember being a young kid and a couple of us are in the bathroom and we're in the mirror saying our cuss words in the mirror, like, yeah, it's going down. And that was elementary school, I believe.
I don't.
And I wasn't a cussing guy, man. I'm still not a dude that cusses a lot.
No, he's not.
See, that makes me feel like my upbringing was just so just damaging because I was cursing in first, second grade.
Ooh.
But I
knew some of those people too. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think I was kind of an angry kid too because what you said earlier about your parents not wanting to have certain conversations, that was totally my mom. And I sit and I think, when you said that, Jess, I had this triggering flashback in my head. And I just thought to myself, I'm like, I wonder how different of a person I would have been if my mom would have had those conversations with me and didn't force my godmother to have those conversations with me when I was 16 and I was already crazy sexually active by then. You know what I'm saying? So it's to think about that, I'm like, holy shit, my mom did the best that she can, but it's I feel like there definitely could have been some better, more open conversations that should have happened and took place. Because I think just for my development, especially not having a father at home, it would have helped with my development and just understanding more of loving myself and, you know what I mean? So
I absolutely get what you're saying, Kel. And I was just talking to Marcus about this, and religion plays a huge role in why some of us are completely fucked up, right?
Yep.
So my mom, Gigi, I love you. She was so concerned about me having sex before I was married that she did not discuss all of the other things outside of that. Like, boys are going to approach you. Boys are going to try to say this to you. And, you know, all of things that we tell our daughters are lessons that I didn't get because my mom was very fearful of me having sex. But there is a whole process leading up to that, right? That she failed to educate me on and sent me to Christian seminars.
Sex ed.
Yeah, pretty much saying, don't fucking do it. God is watching. Your body is a temple. Pretty much you're going to rot and go to hell if you and have sex. And that is the absolute wrong way to go about it. And that's why we have all these teenage pregnancies, kids hiding their pregnancies, kids doing the fucking most. It's because they weren't educated. They really weren't. I think when you're educated about it, you make smarter decisions, right? And you don't tolerate fuck shit. And Kel, I feel you, because I think, you know, everything happens for a reason, but I do believe it would have been different for me if my mom would have just relaxed a little and told me a little bit more about life.
I think what we do well as parents, and it's okay to toot our own horn, but that is just fine.
Toot, toot. Is that a horn? Beep, beep.
Toot, toot.
Toot, toot. Beep, beep. All right.
Having conversations with kids at their level, right? Not so much being the eye in the sky and coming down on the kids. Yes, the kids need guidance and they don't know, and we've already had all these experiences, so we can come at them in that way that we're smarter than you and we know all this other stuff. And sometimes those conversations are real, and you do have to get loud with the kids and let them know that they don't know what they're talking about. But for sensitive conversations or conversations that they're just kind of trying to find their way, it's okay to come at it in a teaching type of setting, or a setting that's not as harsh or black and white, right? There's some gray there. So I want you to understand kind of what's going to be going on here. This is what the guys are going to do and kind of say, and this is kind of their thought process. But when it comes down to it, it's your decision to make choices.
Right. And I also think that parents, especially from maybe our generation, they did a lot of the same stuff that we were doing as teenagers. And they are so, feel so much guilt and all of that kind of stuff themselves, that the only thing that they know how to do is say, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Not, right. This is what I went through. And like you said, it's age appropriate, right? At this point, if my daughter was like, you know, I'm really into my boyfriend, blah, 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 I would tell her about, this is what I went through. Let me arm you with the tools to navigate your boyfriend and your relationship and, you know, what you're comfortable with and all that kind of stuff. And so I think there is a great fear with parents that kids are going to repeat possibly their mistakes. And so It's just, don't do it. Refrain. Don't do it.
Or just fear in general from parents. The fear of the repeat.
That's a huge.
I went through these struggles. I did all this stuff, so I want so much better for my babies. I don't want them to do the same thing I did. But then you end up scaring them into pretty much doing the same thing just by putting so much restraints on them, or putting that thing that you don't want them to do over there in the cage. And there's all this stuff around it. So of course they want to look at it and kind of see what's going on over there. So it's just different ways. And people, can do anything they want, of course, with their kids, but we just want to be open and make sure the lines of communications are open. So when things do come up, our kids are comfortable enough to come to us, or even if we ask them enough, they'll feel comfortable enough to open up and be like, okay, this is what's going on. Can you help me? Or and then we're able to help them in that way.
Right. It's not putting these like, you know, unrealistic expectations on your kids, because I don't know. One of our kids, you know, may have a boyfriend and before they're married, and and want to have sex with that. But what the fuck what can I do about that? I can't do anything. Does that make her a bad person? Absolutely not. Does that make her a gross person? Absolutely not. Does that make her look bad in God's eyes? Absolutely not. Is she going to go to hell? Absolutely not. So it's kind of like, you know, when that time comes, we'll talk about it. They already know. So,
yeah, like,
my daughter,
you know what's crazy? It's like, I don't know, the older I've become, I guess, with getting older and wiser as a parent, I'm like, wow, it's really hard to listen to someone tell you no without an explanation. And that's almost like in everything in life. I think that's like something that like we don't pay attention to as humans. It's just like you hear a no, it's like, okay, no, whatever. But then if you think inside the mind of like a teenager or a child, it's like they want it. Well, why is it bad?
Right.
Why is it no?
What's really over there? What's really going on behind the curtain? Right. Yeah.
Because like you said, Jess, like I said, growing up, same thing. Mom saying no. And, you know, like you said, the whole growing up Catholic and the whole thing is God is watching. And like, I'm that perverse motherfucker that's like, oh, God's watching? That motherfucker better take notes. You know what I'm saying? Like, God, I was that perverse. Yeah, dude. Like, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Like, that's what happens when, I'm telling you, when you're a young man with no father figure at all, right? Maybe some uncles, grandfather, but like no direct father figure, and no one is telling you what you're doing is bad. And you have people like your grandma telling you, ooh, baby, who's your flavor of the week this week? You have people like almost like egging you on and bigging you up for it. Or, oh, my nephew, a little playboy. Like it's funny, like it's joking, not understanding like, I'm 14. I'm still developing. Right. Maybe I shouldn't hear that. you know what I'm saying?
Right. You're right.
You know, so that's what I'm saying. Like, it's just like, yeah, it wasn't until like I got a little older, I'm like, wow, like I get it why you can't just say just no.
That's for everything. I don't, people are going to disagree. You know, it's like, no, because I said so, or just
do as I say, not as I do.
Do it. And it's like
every time I heard that.
Why can't you explain to them why it's no and the dangers associated with? Sometimes they do, but
it's fear of truth, right? It's fear.
It's just fear as parents of your kids getting hurt or failing or not, getting a job. Like it encompasses everything.
Not trusting your kids and not trusting society or the world or for things to go in a positive direction. So erring on the side of caution and just being like, no, stay away from it. Don't touch it. Don't look at it. Just be blind to it is a safe bet.
And nobody's blind.
Right.
Well, not over here.
I wanted to ask you guys one last thing before we wrap up. Because this is a topic that I've seen all over the place. And a lot of different parents have very different, I guess, positions when it comes to this. But how do you guys feel about your kids and sleepovers and sleeping at someone else's house?
Bye. I mean, our kids don't really sleep at people's houses a lot. The kids come over here and spend the night, which Marcus and I are like, we don't know why these parents trust us. We don't know.
We got a trusting glow.
Right. But
Trusting
most
you.
of the sleepovers that they go to, we know their parents.
Right.
Or their parents have come and hung over here. There's a few occasions where we've let our kids spend the night at somebody's house, and I was freaked out, and I was texting the parent the whole time. I felt lit. I'm like, she's never been there. Not quite sure. And but we had a conversation. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Nah, we'll talk about it.
But we went into the house, sat there, talked to the parent for a while along, but I still was kind of like, I'm not sure. But I mean, it was
right.
It was fine.
I just know some parents though, Jess, like
I know.
It's not even like the parents. It's like, well, I don't want my daughter to spend a night over there because they have a brother there.
Yes.
Or there's like a cousin there or something like that. Especially if you have girls.
Hell, they're not feeling the dad. It could go that far too, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And when our kids do spend the night, it's usually a whole bunch of kids spending the night for like a sleepover, like a friend's birthday. I don't know, but they don't really spend the night at people's.
Right. But
I'm
what
like
I would
trying
say,
to think, I'm like, they don't really spend the night at other people's houses.
What I would say to this question, I think it goes back again to conversations that you're having with your kids, right? If they do go or before they go, these are the conversations we're having about your space and what is appropriate and what's not, right? So
you don't let anybody touch you.
These are hard conversations, but these are the conversations that you need to have just so we could all be on the same page. As parents, we want to make sure you're okay. No, we don't want to, and this is just our house, stop you from potentially building those memories with your friends and doing it, all these type of things at sleepovers and stuff like that. That stuff can be fun. I did a lot of that as a kid, and it was kind of the same way when I was a kid. A lot of my friends, they always came to my house because my parents were always there. I had a 2-parent household, and people just felt safe. Their kids coming to our house. It was the same type of energy, right?
It's like a circuit. If you let your kids spend the night at our house and you feel comfortable with that, and you've come over, or not really, but I've talked to you, and a lot of it is, I see, because it's like school, friends. I see these parents every day. I talk to them every day. A lot of them, we go on field trips together. We do this together. We do that together. And so it's kind of like a little circuit of us. And
not a lot of random sleepovers. So to answer your question, it's not a lot outside the box. One, because it's not time. But two, the kids, they have their cliques and they have their circles, and they do so much together, especially being in a private school circuit, just like you said, Jess. You're seeing these parents every day. It's field trips and all that kind of stuff. So we've dealt with that, and it's been good. The kids have stayed at night a couple of times, but a lot of people come here.
Right.
Though,
and that's why parents have, we probably talked about this. Yeah, we have. Like, majority of the kids that have come over and spent the night, we have been the first place that their parents have ever let them stay at.
A lot of first.
But it's because they see me at school. We're room parents together. We interact all the time. Our kids are good friends. And a lot of moms said that seeing Marcus interact with his daughters really gave them reassurance to let their daughter come spend the night at our house. And another thing is, I absolutely understand how dangerous it could be and detrimental and traumatic it can be to send your kid to somebody's house and something happens.
Right.
But I also would feel bad when my son gets older if parents don't let their kids spend the night at my house in fear of my son. And so that's where it's kind of like, you can have a fear, but I don't think that you should instill just straight fear into your kids as to why they can't go over there. There's a brother there, he blah, blah, blah. I have a son. So
Right.
I would feel awful if somebody wouldn't let their kids stay at my house because of my son.
Well, to be honest, though, they're for parents who maybe don't have little boys in their family. They may not understand the dynamics,
Right.
so it's up to us as the parents to make sure that when the girls go back or when those kids go back home, if the girls were in here, yeah, we were playing, and the brother wasn't in the room, and we were trying to change, and all these things that can happen. All those boundaries need to be clear and upfront out the gate.
Right. So,
And that's back to communication with your kids. Okay, son, this is what's going on. It's the girls down there. You're not going down there because of X, Y, and Z,
our
right?
son doesn't want to
Yeah,
go down
but
there at all.
Those conversations need to happen. I believe that's okay to do, and you need to do that.
Right. And again, same with your girls.
Yeah.
If you don't feel safe, you can text us. We will come get you.
Mm-hmm.
Period. So,
All right. Well,
Yep.
Good episode, guys. I think this was super insightful because we've had conversations about the kids, but this one was a lot deeper and and really good because I feel like these are conversations that a lot of parents are having and online and on social media about, what are the boundaries and what is allowed, what's not allowed. So you guys got some really good insight, especially having all those damn kids and the age ranges that you guys have them. You know what I'm saying? So at this point, you guys experienced almost just about everything.
Yeah,
So
much.
word.
Too much.
Truly unruly. Oh, one thing before we finish up, I wanted to show the audience this. I think I showed you guys this. I'm very proud of this, everybody. So there's an artist online that if you all heard about the Montgomery riverboat fight,
Yeah.
with the guy picking up the chair and the guy swimming and that whole thing. This artist on Instagram has made a painting and he's selling prints of this.
Oh,
Look at that. Isn't that just beautiful?
Aquaman. Yeah.
Actually, I want to buy one.
Isn't it great? And he signs them at the bottom too.
That's what's
Yeah,
up.
he's selling these prints, but I might have to put the link in the show notes or something. But
You got to
Black
frame that
folks,
joint
I think-
up. Yeah.
I'm
gonna frame it.
laminate
This
it.
is
and
like-
frame it.
You know how your grandparents had a picture of like John F. Kennedy and like Martin Luther King, or like the Sugar Shack, the Prince of the Sugar Shack. Like this is the next one I
That
think
is funny.
that all Black people should
Yep.
have above their couch covered in plastic.
Yeah.
Truly unruly, y'all. Marcus Trufant, Jessica Trufant. Of course, follow us on social media at trulyunruly_podcast on Instagram. Follow these guys on social media also. Of course, you can catch us every Sunday on Converge. And please subscribe, because that helps us a lot. Catch the visual on YouTube. Follow us on TikTok. All those great things. And I think that's it.
That's it, bro.
All right.
All right, y'all. Till next time, peace and much love.